guy from Disclosure here. And yes, I am. Thank you for subscribing. Mate, it's good to be here. It's been a long time coming. I've put a fair bit of effort into making this stream look good for you guys. Make it a fun place to hang out. Make it sound good. Let me know in the chat if we're sounding good. I think the levels look alright on my side. But yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve for me. And I guess occasionally the guests that we have on. But yeah, it's going to be really fun. I think tonight I just want to kind of get used to this and say hi to you guys. You guys say it sounds good? All right, wicked. I feel like you're broadcasting from the 70s. Well, fair enough. But yeah, this is my studio. So welcome everyone. And one thing I've set up, which is pretty dope, is the ability to do this. We got one camera, we got two cameras, we got three cameras, and we got the helicam. Oh yes. Hi everyone. So yeah, I just want this to be like kind of inviting you guys in to the studio and to kind of give you an idea of how we do things in here. It's going to be mostly me, I think, because this is my house and like kind of my studio. But Howard will be jumping on kind of like as a special guest, I guess. But more frequently than others, I suppose. And I think I'd like to do some collaborative stuff. I definitely want to like make some beats with people somehow. Still figuring that out. But I think tonight, like, I kind of want to just give you guys a little rundown of my template in Logic, show you like kind of the basics of what I take into a session. If whoever we're working with, like what that looks like, how the process kind of unfolds. Talk you through a bit of my studio gear here. I mean, we got like a ton of gear in here, which you guys might want to see and hear. It says there's a hype train starting. I mean, I don't even know what that is at this point. So, yeah, sorry for that. But yeah, it's a small room. It's in my house. Been here for about 5-6 years, I think. Maybe less, 4 or 5 years. And it's really kind of taken on a new life over the last few months because I bought a load of hardware and just wanted to kind of get a more hands-on feel, like this whole kind of cockpit here. I mean, this is just everything I want to play is within reach. You know, I can touch everything. Everything's plugged into this mixer that you can see here. So it's a very hands-on setup, and it's not something I would usually be able to take like into a session with someone. Usually that will just be a little bit more of a laptop vibe. But as you guys will see, like, we're pretty like in the box, to be honest. We have a lot of outboard gear that goes in, but we do all the mixing inside in the box. I mix it all and we produce it all together. We even master it together. So yeah, I want to show you guys that process. I also want to talk a bit about plugins and all that kind of thing. But yeah, I want to let the chat kind of dictate where things go. I chatted to my man Kenny Beats. Shouts to Kenny last week or the week before. Jumped into his stream, and he said one thing he did was like he started out by thinking he was going to be making tunes and showing people how to do stuff, which he does, but he described it as it's a good thing to have in your back pocket, and then most of the time you'll just do what you guys say. So I'm down for that. Like, I miss shows badly at the moment, man. I'm just missing interacting with fans, and getting up there is something that me and Howard have done since we were little kids. So to have that kind of cancelled for now, or at least postponed, is a little bit sad. So this is a great place that we can hang out and hopefully connect. Thank you for that, whatever that noise means. I have set this up, but I'm still getting used to like what all the noises mean. But yeah, I think we're working. I think it looks good. But yeah, cheers everyone to the first stream. Got a little beer here. Please feel free to join. Let me have a look through this chat. What are you guys saying? Cheers, cheers, everyone. Cheers. The emojis. I love this. Show us some classics. Yeah, I mean, we definitely will. We definitely will. I think I put up a post like about 4 or 5 days ago, which was like a request to all you guys to say, you know, which tunes do you want us to break down? And it basically just became a list of every song I've ever made with Howard. So that didn't really work. So yeah, I think what I'll do is maybe work backwards in time a little bit. I mean, My High is, you know, the newest tune. So I think we may start from there and then go in reverse or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of open to whatever you guys think. If we get an abundance of, I can see a lot of requests for Blue World, which is dope. Yeah, My High, Tondo. Yeah, we'll get through them all. I think the general vibe will be make some beats for like an hour or so, have another little chat, then like break down an old song, if that works for you guys. But yeah, it'd be good to get a few of these under my belt before we really commit to a structure, I think, because it's pretty new to me. So anyway, let's start with the old studio tour. Let me switch cameras. That's too far away, isn't it? I mean, that's kind of too far as well. Maybe this one's best. All right, yeah, cool. So, well, actually, I guess, yeah, let's start with this. Okay, so this is the general cockpit. Over there, in that corner, you can see we got some synths, which I'll get to later. But yeah, everything here, I'm going to mute the music now. Yeah, everything on the table is quite new, actually. This 808 here, the TR8S, I think it is. Yeah, that one is an absolutely essential part of like the Disclosure setup. I mean, there's so many beats that have begun on there, and even if any of the sounds that were like recorded on there didn't make it, still like a lot of the ideas that begin on that lead to something else. And so I find it really important to have that really near me just to sort of get something going. I just like how you can hit it in any old way and twist any knob and it does something useful. You know, I don't like synths where you have to go too sub-menu-y, you know, menu after menu to find stuff. So yeah, that one's good for that. I think everything is just easy to get around. And then below it here, let me switch cameras. Here we got the 303, the TR303. I think I can zoom in on this. Hey, there we go. Yeah, the TB03, sorry. So this is the new one. It's like the mini version that they made. And I've got a bunch of this stuff, actually. It's all the Roland Boutique stuff, so you can see here as well. This little stack. Yeah, this stack from the top to bottom, that's the D05, that's the SH101, and that's the SE02, which is the only actual analog one. And I bought these because I just need space. You know, there's not a lot of room in here, as you can see. Like the whole room that's it. It's pretty mini. So for me, like having all of those things right there on the table makes them usable. I mean, I've had the Juno over there and a bunch of other synths that we'll get to for like so long, and they get used a lot. But sometimes for an initial idea, you know, because it's like a bit of faffing around and a bit of patching, you just kind of forget. So I really wanted like a bunch of synths right here that would just work straight away. And the good thing about those boutique things is they're all just USB powered. The audio goes down the USB, the power's USB, the MIDI's USB. It's one cable. So all you need is a little USB powered hub, which I've got like back there somewhere. And they all just turn on and they all just integrate into Logic super easily. So, you know, I'm sure the purists will say they don't sound as good. Fair enough. I think they sound banging. They're very clean. They never go wrong. And it's very easy to set up. So I'm into them. Especially this the SE02 here, that one on the bottom, because that one is actually analog. It's got a couple of analog oscillators in it. That's very much, it's just based on a Moog, really. The only negative thing about it, I'd say, is like it's so fiddly. It's so small. So yeah, that one's a little bit tricky to get right. But the sliders on the SH101, like all that stuff there, it's so easy, like to just, you can't really see it, but yeah, it's all sliders, really easy. The D50 is like just presets. You don't even need to mess with that too much. So that's like the Roland Boutique stuff. Classics made new. and reliable and USB, which I'm into. You know, I'm guessing, yeah, probably get some hate for that, but I don't care. And then yeah, in front of me, this bad boy here, the Peak. Let me see if I can zoom in on that again. There you go. Yeah, you can't really see it. Let me see if I can move the camera. Whoa. There we go. This camera might get it. Nah, it's not going to happen. All right, I'll just talk about it from here. Yeah, Novation Peak, it is awesome. I find it very similar to use to a Juno, really. I mean, it's very much like a Juno in terms of like the sliders for the amp envelope and the mod envelope, and then the oscillator bank is very much like a Moog. So it's like two synths that I already know very well, like smashed together, which I'm really into. It's got digital oscillators, which is fun. I didn't really know much about digital oscillators before. I always assumed digital oscillators equals bad. Like maybe it's not quite the way to go. But these ones sound absolutely amazing. I think they run at like a super high rate. So they've got amazing sound going through an analog filter, analog distortion. So it's like the best of both worlds, which I really like. Yeah. Am I getting too nerdy? I don't know. Let's see. What's the chat saying? Yeah, you're just asking other questions. I thought that would happen. What football team do you go for? I don't really, but if I had to, I'd probably go Crystal Palace because they are closest to where I grew up. So I'd go Crystal Palace. Hello, Mexico. Good to see you tuned in. Play some music, Daddy. All right. Getting there. Will you be doing anything in Ableton or all in Logic? That's a good question. So let me switch this up. Boom, there we have it. So this is my go-to template, start of the session, brand new from scratch. Let's go. So stay people, it might look a bit full already, to be honest. There's already 81 tracks live. And so, yeah, I mean, I know people who start from absolutely nothing, like they start from scratch, you know, a blank template, and they build on that. And we used to do that. I think for the first like 2 albums, we probably did that. But yeah, we kind of decided, or I kind of decided that for the 3rd album, I just wanted to make like a space in Logic that felt like a studio was already plugged in and ready to use. Like, for example, you know, all of this section here, top to bottom, is all drums. All of this section here, top to bottom, is all synths. All this section here, top to bottom, is all bass. So it's really organized and colored and all that stuff. I'm kind of OCD in that way. But the reason I like it is because you can just press any track and you can start playing any sound straight away, and I know what everything does, like I know where everything is, and it just makes life really fast. So that's the Logic side of things. I'll go through it in detail if you want, and explain it a bit more. And then the other thing we do is, you see here at the bottom, Ableton Rewire. So for those people asking Ableton questions, yes, we do both. I don't know many people, or I haven't met many people who are using it in that way, but I really like it. I learned Logic at school. I've been using it since I was a kid, I guess. I learned it at college. It was like a crash course in Logic, basically, my whole music tech course. So I just stuck with it. I also just like how it looks. You know, you're staring at it for hours. It's a nice, colorful place to look, whereas Ableton is a little bit Windows 95. Sorry, Ableton users, but look, I do like it, and for the newest album, it has actually been getting used quite a bit. I really like it for sampling, for warping audio, for stretching stuff like in a really crazy way. So some of the songs that we've really used it on to a great degree, I would say, is like Expressing What Matters. All of the choppy, sampley stuff in that are like really down to Ableton and its algorithms. Like you just couldn't achieve that stuff in Logic, or I haven't figured out how anyway. So that's really cool. But I do love how, you know, if you've got everything running into Ableton, from Ableton into Logic, it just gives me the instinctive, I know where everything is. You know, I know where everything is in Logic. I know where all my plugins are. I know where all my effects are. I don't have to relearn another software. The keyboard shortcuts is like, you know, another massive for me. You just need to know where everything is. So yeah, that's kind of how we use Ableton. I haven't actually got it open at the moment, but yeah, it's there, and it feeds into Logic. I can show you guys how to do that if you want one day, but that's super useful. What are you guys saying? Do you feel like your template holds you back? Absolutely not. I think like the opposite. It really enables ideas to get going, like especially when it's me and Howard. Like when it's me, I reckon I could start from scratch and you know, build something up, but it would take me, I'm so selective in what sounds should be used that, you know, it just takes ages for me to like build a song. Whereas with Howard, he's such a jammer. Like he jams, everything's a jam. He just comes in and he'll jump on the synths over there, or he'll just want, I want a warm sound, or I want like a twinkly sound, or I want something really hard. And I'll be like, okay, cool. Well, all I need to do is click any of these presets that I've like loaded up roughly. It's one click and you play, you know, and I love that about Logic, and how we have this template set up, because he's one of those guys where the chords just fly out of him. You know, the chords are just coming and it's down to you to capture them in time. You know, if you're doing a session with a singer, I find it like that too. You know, I have like a scratch bus, you know, down here ready to go with a few tracks ready with plugins on it. You know, we've got the Tube Tech, we've got Pro Q3 with a bit of rumble taken out and a de-esser. Oh, that's weird. I've had this de-esser for years. Why is it saying that? All right, no de-esser today. I have to figure that out. And yeah, just a bit of H delay and some Valhalla. So, you know, that for me, when we started doing that, rolling up to sessions with a you know, a template ready to go for the vocalist, I was like, why aren't we doing that anyway with our own template, with our own music? You know, it just makes things flow out so much faster. Same idea of having all this hardware all plugged in, ready to go. You know, no like messing around with patching and stuff breaking down. It's ready, and that's a key for me and Howard, is to just get stuff going on the fly as quick as possible. Cracked plugin alert. It's definitely not cracked. I just got a new laptop recently for Twitch, because my other one was really unhappy with my CPU. We're looking good now though, which is a relief. That was the thing I was most worried about. But yeah, this new laptop is missing a few plugins, I guess. What else are you guys saying? What were your first synths? Juno 106, without doubt. The Juno was actually we got it from my uncle's attic. My uncle and my dad and my godfather used to be in a band together. Well, they actually still are. They're actually still in a band together. Shout out Dad. Yeah, he's I won't shout out the name yet because he's actually working on an EP/album. So maybe when that's done, we'll have a listening party. But yeah, they're still playing together all these years later, and so that's fun. But yeah, he had a Juno left over from when they used to tour back in the 80s, it would have been. And yeah, we've taken that on tour. We've taken it all around the world. I don't know if you can see it. It's like just over there. I can spin this camera around. You can see it.
Are you mad?
Yeah, so that's like Juno in the middle, Sub-Fatty on top, and then the absolute beast down the bottom is the Andromeda, the Alesis Andromeda, which is an absolute pig of a synth, I've got to say. I bought it when I was like 21, and I've barely used it because it's so difficult. It's so difficult to use. There are so many menus, so many like different options and ways to tweak it, but I'm just not familiar with yet. So yeah, I'm still kind of trying to work that one out, but it is an amazing synth. I mean, I can't believe it exists, to be honest. It's like on the back, you can have a different output for every single voice on the synth, and it's like I want to say a 12 or a 16 note poly synth. So imagine having 16 outputs out the back of a keyboard, and then you can pan them anywhere you want. I mean, it's just insane. Like, whoever decided that is a legend. So yeah, bought it because I was just like, wow, that's an amazing, unique looking synth, but hasn't actually gotten much use, to be honest. Like I said earlier, like I like the basic ones a little bit more. I like moving something and you hear it straight away. There's no menus, there's no like messing around in there. Monitors. Yeah, good shout. How do you like the KH310s? Is that what they're called? Yeah, I guess it is. The Neumanns, the big ones. Yeah, good, man. Yeah, the bottom one's there, if you can see them. It's a bit dark in here, isn't it? That one, the bottom one. And there's a big old sub behind there as well. Yeah, it's fun. It's like... I got used to them a little bit after the second album, so I didn't use them... I didn't use them much for the first album. I don't even know if we had them. I can't remember now. Oh, that's right. Yeah, we got given them. Because Sennheiser and Neumann gelled together or something as a company. And we did an interview for Sennheiser and they were like... Or we did a few interviews for Sennheiser and they were like, do you want these monitors? I'm like, hell yeah. So that was such a touch. Shout to Neumann and Sennheiser. But yeah, they're great. I find them to be very, very true, like across the whole spectrum. Having the sub helps a lot. The sub is important. I think, yeah, if you don't have the sub, you can't crank them up too loud. They start to kind of fart a bit, you know, when you just push a speaker too much and it kind of does that. So yeah, having the sub gives them a lot more like level. Shout out Rosa. And but yeah, I think they're supposed to be maybe mastering monitors. Someone told me that once, but they seem like mastering monitors because they have such a wide spectrum. They go all the way up to the top to the bottom, so they're great for a big view of the sound. Yeah, on top of that, you've got the Yamaha NS10s, the white ones. I mean, you've all seen those in every studio. Going through a Bryston amp back there, for those who really want to know. Yeah, they sound like crap, but in a good way. I know that sounds strange, but if you can make stuff sound good on NS10s, it will sound good in most places. I think that's the general rule. You know, that's how they've been being used since the 70s, I guess. Like, they don't sound very nice to have very loud. There's a lot of... all the lows drop out and all the highs get cut off, so it's very MIDI. Not MIDI, but like middly. But that's fine. Like when you want to get the vocals in the right place and the guitars and the synths, you know, everything in that area, if you do it on the NS10s quietly and then you switch to the big ones after, it always is like, woohoo! It's like putting the bass back on when you're DJing. It all just comes to life and you've got stuff in the right place straight away. So they're very useful for that. And then here, these little cream ones, these beauties are the Avantones. They're the self-powered ones. I really like them. Again, they're just like the next step beyond NS10s for being like a tool rather than a pleasant listening experience. They're extremely middly. Like they sound like a box, which, you know, if you want to focus in on that area of the spectrum, you know, you need. So it's good for that. I don't know if I'll be using them much during Twitch. They're only used towards the sort of end of mixing. I'll switch to them for like a day when I'm finishing a song and just listen to everything and a bunch of other music on those only, and just see where everything's at, you know, in that realm. Camera focus. Are we going blurry? Oh, hey, there we go. So yeah. Avantone versus NS10s. I'd probably go NS10s. They're just a little bit more broad and a little bit more useful. Oh, but they're not though. They aren't more useful. It depends how you use them. But if you can only afford to buy one, definitely get a pair of NS10Ms. But importantly, you need a good amp. If you're powering them with a weak amp, there's no point. You need to overpower NS10s. You need a big amp, like at least 300 watt, I would say, and just turn it up a little bit. And then they sound great. If you have to turn your amp up a lot, you're not going to get a good result out of them. They need a lot of power. The Avantones are much easier. They're just plug and play. They got amps in them already. Most people use those Avantones as a mono check as well. People have one in the middle, and you know, it's to sort of see how the mix sounds if it was just in mono, like coming out of your iPhone or something. Although even iPhones are in stereo now, so I don't know how useful that is. But I like them as a pair of as a pair of stereo speakers as well. Do you ever do vocals, or is it mainly Howard? Lead vocals? Never me. I'm trying to think. Have I ever done that? Nah. I mean, I've done a lot of backing vocals. I've done a lot of oohs and ahs all through this mic, like just in this room, finishing stuff off. You know, what can I reference? Moonlight. All of the oohs and ahs in Moonlight is like me and Howard mixed together. But then, you know, Howard sings lead on like F for You, and Confess to Me on the first album. He's in the chorus. Second album, he's on like Echoes, Jaded, Molecules, you know, a few others like that. So yeah, I think he's more confident singer than me. Like I can sing in tune, but I just really don't love the sound of my own voice. And because I'm the one who has to spend hours mixing it, I think hearing my own voice over and over again would be very difficult. So yeah, I think that's why I prefer Howard's voice, because it's just not mine, and I don't mind listening to it for hours. And I like his voice. He's got a good tone, man. He's got a soulful tone. But yeah, we've definitely made a career for ourselves by working with other people to do most of the singing, I would say. So shouts to everyone we've worked with. What have we got here? MacBook specs. Must be CPU heavy. It's just like the newest MacBook with the biggest RAM, 4 terabyte hard drive. Is there a way I can pull that up that you guys can see for the nerds? There it is. Bam. Oh no, you can't see it. Oh, I'll figure it out. 2.4 gigahertz, 8-core Intel Core 9, 64 gigabyte RAM. So yeah, loads of space. Loads of space. So we got all these cores not even being tested. But you are right, you know, that's why I've got some stuff down here, you know, turned off, especially things like Keyscape or Omnisphere. I mean, Omnisphere drains CPU so quick. But yeah, I did have to invest in a new MacBook to kind of make that template functional, because yeah, it was a bit of a pig. And I have the sample rate very slow, and I just use the latency button a lot. Yeah. Hide the serial number. Yeah, I'm glad that didn't come up. Does that matter, actually? I don't know. I'm very new to this, guys. Who cares about MacBook specs? That's what yeah. I don't know. Basically the best one. What is your process in creating a bass line? Well, it's mostly Howard's ideas, I would say, melodically and musically. I don't know. We'd have to get him on and ask him about that specifically, but we usually make it in the box. We'll usually start on, let me see. We got our bass synths here. So these are like my go-tos. So this is the trigger for my 303, which is down there. Are you mad? So that is sending MIDI out to the synth itself. And so, you know, I can get my hands on there and start tweaking stuff. You know, kind of like that. The SE02 is, yeah, the other one I was telling you about, this one down here. Are you mad? Sounds like a Moog, basically. Yeah, all that fun. And then this is the Monarch. I'm a huge fan of Monarch, man. I use it on nearly everything, at least to get stuff started. And then, you know, if we wanna like send what we've recorded out to someone else, then, or to something else, sorry, then I'll usually start with Monarch as a bass and then send it to a Moog or send it to the Juno or wherever we want it to go. But as a good like starting point, I really like it. It's very just it's a Moog. It's just based on a Moog. The bass line of My High was made on that synth. And it sounds very acidy. It sounds very like 303, to be honest. But I made that bass line before I had that synth, so that's why. Yeah, Monarch's a beast. I really like it. I also have a bass guitar always set up just in case we want to like just tap into that kind of sound, you know, quickly, just as a guide or something. And I really like this one, this Ample Bass J. They just updated it and it looks all different. I'm not used to it yet. But yeah, it's got a really nice interaction between how you play the MIDI and how it sounds. Are you mad? So that's always live, ready to go, just in case we want to start like a bass idea and, you know, maybe replay it later, but at least it gets you in the right realm of sound. And then for like a straight sine wave sub, I love this Yuhi repro thing. Huge sine bass. Does what it says on the tin, you know. It's a massive sub, and that's pretty much all you need to know about that. Running for a bit of saturation, you know, you can beef it up if you want. Turn this up a little bit. So yeah, those are our sort of go-tos. Always ready to go, armed. Disclosure sample pack. Yeah, we should do one of those one day. Do you have a swing template or manually swing stuff? I use the MPC swing settings I added to Ableton. Yeah, I will usually fuck with the stuff up here a bit, like the Logic swings here. And then I'll do a lot of like moving, you know, moving the MIDI just a little ahead of the beat or a little behind the beat. You know, it depends what it needs. But yeah, there's a lot of manual stuff. I would say like post the session though, post writing, you don't want to get bogged down too much in moving MIDI and getting the swing spot on, especially if you're working with someone. Like, I just like to get it in and then tweak that stuff later if it needs more of a swing or to be straightened out. Worry about that later, man. Yeah. Do you have any issues mixing low end in your room? No, but that's because I've treated it a bit and I've moved my seat to where it sounds best. So I think that's a good thing to know for anyone producing music in their bedroom, like basically this. Put some speakers in there before you decide where you're going to sit and move around the room a bit and find where the bass is and where it isn't, because there'll be dead spots and there'll be hot spots. Behind me here is like a really heavy spot. So I like pull my chair forwards a bit to this desk and I find that to be like just the perfect sweet spot exactly here, especially when I lean in, like, you know, I lean forward a lot when I work and probably do my back in, but that's where the sound is. So I kind of, I adapted to the room, because when you're short on space like this, you know, what can you do? What else are you guys saying? Do you ever get creative blocks? If so, how do you go through them? Yeah, man, all the time. Just keep writing. That's all I can say. Make something really bad, but you still made it. You know, you made something. Even if you don't like it, put it on paper, press save, move on to the next one. Don't stop. Just keep making stuff. For our album coming out in, what is it, like a few weeks now? Jeez, yeah. Energy's coming out at the end of August. We made 200 songs for that. 200 tunes. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff on there that didn't make it for that reason. We didn't like it, or it wasn't right, or maybe, yeah, a different project. But yeah, 200 tunes to get to 11 was a lot of work. But yeah, you just got to keep going. Ungodly Hour is so good. Thank you, man or woman, whoever you are. Any advice on how to develop your own sound? Oh, man, that's a difficult one. Very difficult one. Because everyone has to start by copying. You have to. And everyone is always copying. You know, everyone's always drawing inspiration. I remember I learned this at school, and it really gave me a lot of confidence to not worry too much about being completely original all the time. You know, it's okay to have something in mind, even if it's subconscious. It's not super at the forefront, like I want to make that song, but it's okay to draw inspiration heavily, because I remember learning at school that we got shown this piece of Mozart music, right? Just a little melody. And then we got shown this piece of Beethoven music. And my teacher was like, move that. Let me change the camera angle. My teacher was like, move that to here and flip it upside down. It's the same melody. Looks exactly the same. So, you know, Mozart was sampling. Mozart was drawing inspiration and copying. You know, I think that everyone should begin by doing that. And then you'll find your way, man. You'll carve your own path and you'll gravitate to what connects with you on a deep level. I think that's it, really. Like, I think people know Disclosure as a kind of, I don't know what it is. There's a warmth there. There's like, everyone always talks about our chords or that the kind of synth sound that we use. And that's just what really connects with us. I think it's what we want to express the most. So you just got to find out what that is. It's pretty difficult. Not the best advice, I guess. Your biggest influence nowadays? Well, I don't know, to be honest. I listen to a lot of old music. It's mostly old, to be honest. I haven't been listening to much new music. I do love how in the UK grime is having another amazing moment. I think that's brilliant. because it had a moment back when I was a teenager. Well, it had a huge moment. It began and it was amazing. And now you tune onto like the most popular radio stations in the car and it's grime, and that's dope, man. I really like that, because it's just, you know, it's like us kids. Well, not kids anymore, but kids making tunes in their bedrooms on their laptops, and bang, it's on Radio 1. I mean, that's awesome. That's what gets me up in the morning. Why do you have 3 side chains at the top? Oh yeah, good point. So these here, I just have this ready to go. So this side chain, I just have that sending to bus 1, and it's just a straight 4/4, you know, bang 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 trigger. I just like to use that for pumping synths and for you know, sidechaining vocals or whatever. I don't use any kind of plugins that do it for you. I like to actually send a noise to a compressor and then adjust the release time and the attack time on the compressor to get it to do what I want. Yeah, we can go into that in great detail if you want, but I think for now we'll just leave it at that. But there's another one underneath it, which is, I wish I didn't need, but it has to be there, the UAD sidechain. This is a problem that I've come into a lot with using universal audio plugins. So my interface is the Apollo, and I've got a couple of satellites too, because I use a lot, as you can see, like a lot of UAD, universal audio stuff. And so with that problem, with that comes a problem, which is, say you've got, like here, a stack of plugins all running and doing, you've got them set how you want them and it's sounding good, and then you want to put a sidechain post all of those to get them all pumping. Well, with UAD, I think because all the plugins run outboard from the computer, there's a latency. So you have to get your sidechain, copy it down, and then literally manually drag until it all pumps how you want it to. It's annoying. I'm sure, or I'm hoping one of you guys has got a solution for that, but I've talked to people at Universal Audio and no one figured it out yet. I think it's kind of difficult when the plugins are running outside the computer. So, yeah. Yeah, you can't use them if you have your interface plugged in. Yeah, that's the other thing. You have to have the interface plugged in to use the plugins. But then that's good, you know, because it frees up CPU. That's the point of the UAD stuff, is unlike Waves or whatever you're using, you know, they're pretty CPU heavy, but they run off the computer. So you don't have any spikes or anything. You just have a set amount of how many you can have going at one time. And that's it. They are expensive though. That's one thing I'd say, but they are banging. I would actually say I can probably walk into an analog studio now and I know what stuff does way more than I did before, like getting the universal audio stuff. It's like you can learn how to use an analog studio in reverse up to a point. You know, I can at least, like this mixer I've got here, you know, the UAD, the SSL mixer on the top here, that's got the G-Bus compressor on it. You know, it's got this one. You know, I learned this compressor on my computer, and then I bought that mixer, and I already knew how to set it up. So that's, you know, it's a good little bonus. How do you get those washed out effects on breakdowns? They're always so weird and spacey, yet don't mud everything up. Well, effects, let me think. My go-to effects would be H delay. This is my go-to, like, default setting. If I was putting it on a bus or on a direct sound. So yeah, feedback at 80%, taking a bit of the lows out, leaving the highs in to keep all those synths swishing and swashing. I would usually mess with the modulation, probably put it on like a 4 and then match this to whatever you're feeling. Like that's the speed of the dip and the up and down. But yeah, I'd use a lot of H delay, which is just, you know, a tape emulation. I think it's tape. Yeah. Trust H delay implicitly. I just know how it's going to react to like everything. I do love that new Valhalla delay as well. I think it's really good for doing a little bit more like crazy stuff. Thanks for the donation. Thanks for everyone donating, by the way. This is crazy. I'm loving this. Yeah, if you want to do some way more crazy pitchy stuff, this one's the way to go. Much more experimental. It can be subtle, but for me, if I need a subtle, like just go to H delay, like no doubt. I just love how it can just, you set your ping pong up so easily, it's done. This one for me, I'm still learning a little bit. But yeah, so like this stuff here, like reverse pitch, if you mess with that, and you can get some really insane effects going on. So that's good fun. And then yeah, Valhalla reverb is definitely a go-to. That's my default setting. I like the bright hall. And as a kind of go-to. I'm a little bit more of an 80s reverb guy than a 70s guy. So, you know, the 70s one is a little bit deader on the top, and it's a little bit more of like a background, you know, have it behind something, behind a vocal reverb. That would be good for a vocal, no doubt. But I'm just like a huge fan of George Michael, and growing up listening to like Jesus to a Child, where it's just the most insane reverb you've ever heard on a vocal. You know, something I don't think any engineer would think to do. It would only be the artist who would think, I want to put the most amount of reverb on the S sound of my voice ever. I mean, yeah, I wish we could play that song. I don't really understand the laws around playing tunes on Twitch, so I'm not going to do it right now. But yeah, you guys go and listen to George Michael, Jesus to a Child, if you want to hear about reverb. That's a good place to start. And I think that what he was using there, actually, I don't know. It could be the Lexicon. If I had to guess, I'd say the Lexicon reverb. It's definitely a digi reverb because it's just so. And I love all that. I love all that top end reverb stuff at a low level. So yeah, those like 3 plugins post a synth would be a pretty standard Disclosure sound straight away. I mean, I could probably just make one up right now. So this is just the Juno, basic Juno plug. Don't know if that was in time. Oh yeah, mate, look, we nailed it. We absolutely nailed it. Yeah, let me just force legato that stuff. Oh, what's my shortcut? Whatever, I'll do it here. Yeah, so I think you can all understand where I'm going with this. Where is that? Force legato. Oh, it's on trim, innit? Sorry, new laptop, new shortcuts. I need to I need to rearrange it all. There we go. Oh, God. That'll do. So on bus 3 here, I've got just the basic Logic chorus. I love this thing. I mean, it's on so many Disclosure tunes. I think people probably think it's some fancy crazy chorus, but it really isn't. If it isn't this one, like on the Juno, if it's not the actual Juno chorus or coming off the 106 itself, I like using the Logic one, man. I really like having the dry signal down the middle, which is why I turn this one off. So you've got the super dry sound here. So that's just it on its own. And then if I bus it to the chorus, it's immediately going to sound kind of Disclosure-y. Yeah, you get it. And now add some H delay. So you can hear that kind of modulating up and down. Give it full wet so you can hear. Reverb. Nice. And then yeah, on bus 4 here, I've got the Roto cab set up, just the Logic Roto cab, and I really like that as well with a Juno. Just gives it a little bit of a touch of like an organ. So let me just show you how that sounds. Just gives it loads of nice like mids around that 1 to 5k type thing. there's a little rough idea for you. I'm feeling like we're about to make something here, so I think I might just go into it. I've got some better chords in mind, actually. I think I'm going to start that again. Actually, yeah, wait, what are you guys saying? Are you down for me to make a beat? I can't believe I'm watching this. I've been a fan of yours for years. The Disclosure sound. Yeah, I think after doing this for 10 years, there's no point having any secrets at this point. Share the knowledge, spread the vibes, and also reveal that there isn't really much to it. Like, in terms of, that was just a Juno and some reverb and delay, and I would class that as a pretty standard go-to Disclosure sound. So, you know, it's not to get that bit done. That bit I can do, like, you know, like breathing. But to do the rest of the songwriting and stuff, need Howard for that. So yeah, I mean, me making tunes on my own is going to be much more beat driven and just kind of like messing with crazy sounds. When we do stuff with Howard, that'll be a lot more lyrical, I guess, and there'll be content in terms of the lyrics and the melodies. So bear with me on my chords, guys. They're not 10 out of 10. 738 crew, shout out. Yeah, all right. New question. So can you send audio track to multiple buses in Logic? Yeah, absolutely. You just do it here. You can send as many as you like. Like, here's all your buses. I got a bunch set up here already. Drum bus, bass bus, Ableton bus, synth bus, and I've got some go-to delays and reverbs down here. Oh yeah, my go-to reverb to have on a bus, like in case I just need to like emergency send something, is the UAD EMT. I just really like it. It's very subtle, good to send a vocal to, good to send a bunch of vocals to, even snare and like whatever you want to send. It's just a good go-to reverb. But to be honest, for the whole like first two albums, we were just using Space Designer, which is all the Logic stock reverb. My young ears at the time couldn't really hear the digitalness of it, but now I listen to it and it doesn't quite do it for me. It just doesn't quite give me that like amazing George Michael you know, that I'm looking for. I can hear the artifacts in it a little bit. Sometimes that's fine, you know, if you want a bit of a bit crushed weird reverb, then it's fun. I really like it for its like its little spring reverbs, like these ones here. Those are really fun. If you're just doing like a plucky guitar, like a plunk plunk plunk, it does a pretty good spring reverb emulation. But yeah, it's not that fancy. What else? What are you guys saying? Love you too. Love you guys. I don't know how many people are watching this. Do you guys know how many people are watching this? It's like 800 or something. Yeah, cool. Nice, 800. How do you avoid falling into certain patterns? I kind of answered that earlier, but yeah, just keep making the same type of stuff. Well, that's definitely, don't do that. Don't keep making the same thing. Make a variety of genres of stuff. I mean, as you guys know, yeah, I make everything from Disclosure stuff with Howard to like a more of a hip hop type thing with like Matt Miller, or going way back with like Bishop Naru. You guys know that one? You Stressin', it's called. Yeah, there's a bunch of genres that I think you want to dip a toe in as many as you can, because then when you come to do what you do best, you'll have a fresh mindset. You won't have been doing it, and you won't have been doing it all day, and it won't feel like a chore. You know, it'll feel fun. And yeah, anyway, I'm gonna stop looking at the chat so much now, guys, and I'm gonna make something. I don't know what. I was messing around with some chords earlier, which I'll try and remember. But yeah, I've got a mute on this mic on my foot, like so yeah, if I'm moving around the room, you probably won't hear me, but yeah, let's cook something up. Also, thank you guys for all tuning in. This is awesome. A round of applause for you guys. Yeah, this is a lot of fun. A metronome. Cool, so we've got a nice little pad there on the Rhodes, which I bounced to audio because that keyscape uses so much CPU. Now we're going to do a kick. I've been using this thing a lot recently. I love this thing for making a kick. It is like a kick synth. It's got two layers up here for an actual sample, and then down here is like the actual shaper of the kick. Logic brought out their own one, basically the same, bit less detailed, bit less opportunity to make it unique, but it's still a good go-to. Like, I leave it up open. It's good for 808s, just tuning an 808 really quickly. But yeah, this one I really like. Thought that wasn't making much difference. I was on the wrong track. I am a drummer, I promise. So yeah, I think this is all just like Jay Dilla samples, pretty much, for those asking. I don't think it was a pack. I think it's just stuff that I've gathered over the years from many packs. Yeah, you know, all that good stuff. What VST am I using for my hats? Yeah, everything's battery. If I'm playing it in, like 9 times out of 10, it's battery. Yeah, so all the Dilla stuff, it's all there. I think the hats are, yeah, Dilla hats as well. Thought I'd start with something easy that I know. We can get into more like synthesized original stuff another time, but yeah, my first stream, I thought I'd stick to some legendary Dilla sounds. cool. So we've got a little vibe going there. Needs a little 707 clap. Yeah, just using stock battery stuff for this, which I'll mess with. I think I need to turn that down. Are you mad? Thanks everyone for subscribing. Keep them coming. Yeah, bass next. You're right. So we're rocking the 303 for this one. Yeah, I'll probably just jam it out for a bit. Move the beer. What's wrong with the beer? Oh, because it was in the way. Yeah, done. Keyboard camera coming up. How can I zoom in? Hey. Yeah, this little keyboard here is absolutely dope. It's called, is it CME? It's called the X Key Air. I love it. It's so good for traveling with. It's tiny. I mean, and you can see how thin it is. It's like all the keys are totally flat as well. It's so good to throw into a backpack, but it's ended up on my table now because it's just so good. I love how it feels, and yeah, space being a thing. You know, I mean, I've got the keyboard over here, like the Akai one, which has got the full range. Which, yeah, also controls everything, all the synths, and, you know, you can send that anywhere you want. But, yeah, for sitting here, this one's kind of all I need to get an idea going. So I'll probably just get like a basic pattern in, and then, yeah, change it once it's in. Everyone's saying move the beer. It's safe, guys. It's all fine. Don't you worry about it. I will put it on the floor. Or just finish it. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to stick with this 303 sound, but we'll write it on here anyway. That sounds banging on its own, isn't it? Okay, I wasn't trying to applaud myself. I pressed that when I drank my beer. Technicals. Yeah, it's a cool little idea. So now that's rolling. We record it in through the 303.
Are you mad?
So that's like the basic go-to. Let me just line that up. Yeah, now I'll probably just record a bunch where I'm messing with the synth, so bear with me. Squelchy. I think that's what you call that. Squelchy.
Are you mad?
Are you mad? So I'll probably save that for another time, but yeah, that's a vibe. Add a bit of chorus on there, get it a little bit wide. Do I like the 303 timbre music? Yes, I do. That did just what I wanted it to do just then. Bouncy, bit of acid vibes. Yeah, I'll probably try out a few more going forwards, but let's keep going with the vibe. All right, so now we're going to draw for some SH101 over here. Let me change the angle. This one. Might have to move the mic.
Are you mad?
I really need to remember my keyboard shortcuts. I need to figure out why that is happening. Okay, I think I got it. Now we're rolling. Let's get a few takes of that. All right, I think we got some good stuff there. You guys, oh yeah, you guys are feeling that. Sick. This is quite good. It's like having 100 Howards in the room, all saying what they think. Love it. So yeah, what I'd usually do is like record like a bunch of those, and then like I'd arrange it after, you know, that would just kind of go in. Now I'd pick the best like two and just leave that looping and keep building on that. But you know, like within there's definitely structure. You know, sometimes we quite like to sort of let the synths lead the way a little bit. So you know, you kind of, and let me just put the AC on. Yeah, if you let the synths lead the way, sometimes the vocalist or whoever will write accordingly. So sometimes we'll do that for like 45 minutes non-stop, just me messing around, and the vocal will emerge from this like either a little lull in the synth or like a big moment in the synth. So yeah, that was fun. I like that SH101 on there. Let me just pick a good one. So you can see that's like recorded all the effects onto it too, which I didn't actually mean to do, but sometimes those things are fine. You know, I kind of like that. Those accidents sometimes, you know, you got to commit. It all sounded good when I did it. Don't mess with it. Oh yeah, I really should switch screens. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I'm just messing with the sound, putting some tremolo on there, getting it panning around nicely.
Are you mad?
Yeah, I'm not going to mess with it too much, you know. I think it sounds good. Oh, actually, no, a bit crusher would be cool. I love doing a little noise on top. Could be fun. Cool, so we got some structure there. I'm just gonna move. Oh no, you gotta move, you've gotta move. Just get a little A-B thing going on here, just a jam over. Shouts to the person saying, "Is this GarageBand?" Come on, man. We've moved beyond GarageBand, guys. We're Logic. We're Logic lads here. We're Logic lads here. Oxford Inflator. Yeah, I tried that on there, but it wasn't really doing much. But I love it. It's amazing. I put it on my master out. I put it on drums. Oh, drums. We could do a bit of processing on the drums, actually. Yeah, it's amazing. It's one of those plugins that doesn't do much on its own. But when you, like, if you have it on loads of stuff at once, like on individual vocals, on the group vocal, on the bass, on the drums, and you bypass them all at the same time and then put them back in, it's like a night and day difference. It's an amazing plugin. My sound man actually showed me it, who was doing our live shows. He was putting it on everything in the live show for a long time, and I was like, what's that, like, magical little thing? And he just literally was doing A, B, A, B, and it was like, well, that definitely sounds better with it on. We should just leave that on all the time. Yeah, I like that plugin. It's a banger. So yeah, I'm happy with this. I want to hear the drums together and get them sounding a bit squelchier. It needs a little shaker. I would usually record some shaker, but for now, we will just use a shaker from Logic. It doesn't matter. That'll do. Grab one from Splice as well. Do you guys use Splice? Of course you do. Splice is great for percussion, man. I use it a lot just for tambourines, shakers. Just stuff that, you know, if the tune makes the cut and it's good, you can come back and re-record that stuff later with a nice mic and, you know, make it sound the way you want. But for right now, you know, don't mess around. Don't get lost in that stuff too much. That one's cool. Probably drag a few in. Yeah, let's try those ones out. So I drag that into my drum bus. They usually come in really loud. Oh, that one's not bad. Oh, yes, it is. It's not quantizing, weirdly. Hey, there we go. So something I love on shakers is this thing. This thing is the best at removing reverb. I know that Oxford do one as well. There's a few, but this Native Instruments one is either free or like really cheap. And for taking out the space and all the crap in the shaker you just don't need. Tambourines too. I use it all the time. It's so good. Hear this difference. This is it bringing up all the in-betweens. And here's the other extreme. Clean, super clean. So maybe somewhere in between, I'd probably set that. Yep. Moving on. See if this one fits. I don't know if this one will fit. Oh my god, sorry guys. My ears are dead now. That's the end. Good night. So yeah, same thing. Drag that over. And if you need, you can always have two. There you go. See? Double transient master. Even more control. You can add as many as you want. Here's without. Just a mess. It's not free. Oh, okay, my bad. Well, I'd recommend it. It's probably in my top, maybe not top 5, top 10 plugins though. I use it a lot. All right, let's have some context. It's never good to listen to shakers for that long. Little classic house tambourine. Sweet. All right, now we're going to do a little bit of... actually, I'm going to get another beer. that's what we're going to do. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. How's everybody doing? Cheers. It's not midday here. No, it's what time is it? It's 8:50 p.m. So yeah, but I did just have a little weekend away with my girlfriend. So yeah, I have been drinking in the day for a few days in a row. So, but you know, it's the opening stream. You know, gotta drink a beer, innit? I'm gonna test these widgets out. Look at this. This is jokes. Oh, it's behind the chat. I'm gonna move it. This is when we were on SNL. Can you believe we did that? And oh yeah, this one's cool. So this is all the artists that are on the album. Can you guess them all? Actually, I don't know if that's all of them, but it's a lot. Actually, no, I think it might be. Yeah. A lot of Marley shout outs. I'll give you a quick blast at the end. I'm not allowed to play it all, but I'll give you a quick blast. Once it's out, I should probably move that widget. Yeah, once it's out, we'll break it down. But yeah, actually, yeah. What do you guys want to do? Because I'm getting happy with this beat. I was thinking about putting a vocal on it, like a little chop of some kind, just a ooh, ah type thing. But then we could like break down my high. I was going to open the project to that and show you guys a bit of channel, a bit of Amine's vocal. Yeah, vocal down, Moonlight breakdown. Yeah, that'll be another day. Everyone's saying yes. Break down my high. Yes. Okay, cool. I'll spend 10 minutes on a little vocal thing, and then we'll get into my high. Oh God, where are we at? Also, for anyone wondering why I'm starting at bar 9 here, it's another weird thing to do with the Ableton rewire. Yeah, if you're rewiring Ableton into Logic and you start it on 0, it goes. It's a horrible noise. So I start all my tunes on 9 now. Oh yeah, and I should probably tell you that about these things too. So I always have these on my project. It's just tape hiss and vinyl crackle. Some plugins generate tape hiss, and you got some really good ones that do vinyl now as well. But I like to just have them to begin with rolling in the background, because I don't know about you guys, but all my favorite songs have hiss, tape hiss, and vinyl noise, and they just don't feel finished. Tracks don't feel finished unless they have that bit of grit on there, a bit of noise. So I like to start to go on. And so, yeah, there's rarely a Disclosure tune or any tune that I've produced that won't have a bit of hiss going on. Not always crackle, but hiss has to be there. My ears just aren't happy otherwise. So I just have this thing rolling all the time. Yeah, nice little loop there. Okay, let me have a look. See what vocals I want to mess with today. I'm not going to name who this is. I'll rename the file. Bonus points for who guesses. I think I'm going to throw this one in Serato Sampler. Oh, no, I'm not. New laptop. Yeah, no, we won't be using Serato today, guys. Next time we will. It's not cracked, okay? For anyone who's saying it's not cracked, I promise. What can we use instead? Good old Logic sampler, I guess. Oh yeah, that's one of the really good new things about Logic. You can... Where's my sample gone? Yeah, you can just drag any sample down there, and then up pops this little menu, and you just get a little quick sampler on the go straight away. Saying that. Wheel of Death there. Hey, there we go. Yeah, and it gives you this like option to select transients, which is a bit crazy. Yeah, I'm going to stick with... It's very quiet, isn't it? Okay. I haven't used this much, this quick sampler thing, so yeah, give me a minute. Is it slice or something? Oh yeah. Wow, the key's pretty good. Shout to Royal Oaks on the wound. Yeah, you got it. Going for some Todd Edwards vibes right here. Shouts to Todd Edwards. That could be like a little initial backgroundy thing. Alright, that's the first one. Fancy how long we got? Nah, let's give it another 5 minutes. What's on bus 3 and 4? 3 is chorus and 4 is rotocab. Rotocab, Logic chorus. There's the settings. What are you guys feeling about this? I don't know about those lyrics, but I can keep searching. The vibe's there though. The texture is right.
Broken verse, but the melodies say the new, 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 like melodies say the new. You don't know
I haven't warped this yet. There is a way of doing it. This is all. Oh, here you go. It's that in it.
You don't know where you're walking to.
That's not how I want it though.
You don't know where you're walking to. You don't know where you're walking.
To be honest, I just like to kind of record it into audio and then warp it after. So I'm just gonna do that.
You don't know where you're walking to. 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 You don't know where you're walking to.
Yeah, I'm just messing around now, but I like the vibe. I think, I think Jamie's vocal sounds cool with the way that you get in the water. That's a cool little thing. I'd probably mess with it a lot more than I have there. This quick sampler thing, I don't use it much. I like the Serato sampler a lot for vocals, but the old Logic sampler was good, but they just literally updated it the other day, so new shortcuts. All right, 9:05 my time. Fancy a bit of My High, everyone? Have a look in there. My High. What's the beer? It is it's an IPA. I can't remember what it is now. Many IPAs. I got it from Sainsbury's. Let me save this. I'm worried where you guys will see this being saved. I'll do it on the desktop. Oh no, here we go. I can do it down here. Uno momento. Anyway, yeah. I hope that gave you guys a little bit of a run through of the order of the way that I like to do things. That was pretty much, yeah, although I don't think it's the best thing I've ever made. In terms of like what I did and the order and what I used, that's pretty much spot on. That's like how it goes most of the time. Except the chords will be crazier because Howard is here and the vocals will be someone like an actual Jamie Woon rather than chopped up Jamie Woon. But yeah, sounding cool. All right, let me open up my high. There may be a couple plugins missing. I'm hoping not because of the update. But yeah, let's see. What are you guys saying? Show us the Alesis. Oh, that's another day's work. I can't deal with that synth. It gives me anxiety. What happened to Jamie Woon? Hey, I was literally listening to both his albums on my drive back today from wherever I was, holiday. And man, both those albums, if you guys haven't listened, definitely check them out. Mirror Writing, I think is the first one. And then I think his second one, Making Time or About Time, I think it's Making Time. I think that's one of the most underrated albums ever made. Like, it's so good. I don't know what happened with the release or if it got changed and moved around like quite a lot or something, but yeah, I don't know. That whole record to me is like 10 out of 10 amazing. The recording, the writing, oh yeah, it's wicked. Especially sharpness, movement, message. All the first 3 tracks are insane. Yeah, Jamie Woon, man, shouts to him. But I think he's doing well. He is a friend of mine. And yeah, we should try and get him on here one day. That would be really fun. Get him doing some actual vocals. All right, there's my height. I'm just going to load up Ableton. Can't wait till I'm a bit better at this. It's all just instinctive and flowing. Oh, we'll get some good emotes for you guys as well. I think you've all seen the little blue one that I made. But I've got some guys working on some wicked graphic design for the whole page and for the channel and for subscribers to enjoy. So yeah, that's all. It's on the way. Man, I haven't opened this in a little minute. Where is it? Hey, here we go. So this will be cool because you guys will get to see the Ableton rewire thing, because this tune is based a lot off of a loop of drums that we threw in at the start of the session. Yeah, let's switch this up. Share screen. Boom. Here is my high. Oh, it's kind of just cropped out there. There we go. And there's the mixer. So yeah, and here's Ableton. So my high began with this loop. It's an old garage loop by one of the most insanely sick garage producers of all time, in our humble opinion. His name's Jeremy Sylvester. He's got some wicked drum loops out there. I think I used 2 of his loops on the album. Maybe 3 actually, but anyway, they're a great starting point if you want to get something rolling quickly. And when we did this tune with Amine, that guy writes so fast, man. He writes so quick. So it was, yeah, it was just like, can you get a mic in front of him fast enough? He started singing the hook straight away. All we had was these drums looping, and then bang, Howard came with this fire bass line. So yeah, let's get into that. So you can see here where it says Ableton bus. Is that where it's coming in? Okay, so I've dragged it up here. Ableton Rewire 1 and 2. These 2 tracks here, although it looks like there's nothing on them, what is coming in from here is what you're hearing. So you see up here it says, yeah, Rewire out, left and right mix. And then you can just make as many channels as you want. I've got like 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's all like ready to go when I get to the session. If I want to drag in a loop or whatever, no messing about. and it just feeds straight into Logic here. You just set it up here, Ableton Live, and they're all coming down. So here's the loop. So that rolls and rolls throughout the whole tune. That's pretty loud, isn't it? I think I've got the limiter on. No, I don't. Cool. Let me know if the volume's all right. So that's like the initial absolutely disgusting dirty loop. I think we're backing that up with a rim here. Yeah. So just layering it, and then a clap. Giving it some stereo width there. Got some nice like spread on that. Yeah, that is from the Dilla kit again. Just little rim. And then massive kick drum for the punch. And then a big sub kick under that. So 2 kicks there, big sub one. And then one for punch. One for claps. But yeah, really, I mean, that loop is so fire, and I just love old school garage so much. I didn't really want to mess with it too hard, to be honest. So, but yeah, where there is a lot going on, why not just bounce the loop as an audio file and drag it into Logic? Well, you could do that right at the end, but like my CPU was so low, it didn't matter. And I've done quite a lot of, like, you see these little bits here, like reverses. And I was kind of doing that as I went, like. And so I never really got to the point where I was like, oh yeah, I need to bounce this out now because I'm done. I was literally tweaking stuff like that right up until the day we sent it off for master. So just never did it. But yeah, you totally could and probably should if you want to save some CPU. But I like to be super flexible, like all the way up to the point of mastering. You know, I don't like to commit unless it's like an effects sound or something like a reverb that you like on the sound. Yeah, I like to kind of just keep everything super flexible. Does it introduce latency? Yeah, the latency is bad with Ableton running in, but hey ho. If you can get it sounding like this, I'm happy. So something we should show you is, here's the drum bus here in the corner. I'll just bypass everything, and there's a lot on the master out as well. I'll bypass everything. Here's what it sounds like raw. And here's what it sounds like with everything. So yeah, massive change there. I can get into that. So number one, this is my go-to bus, drum bus compressor, I should say. Yeah, the API 2500. I nearly bought one actually in real life because I loved it so much. But yeah, it just gives such a brutal attack on the top of the drums. Like the entry point of all the transients is so insane. Like let me pump it up for you and you can hear it. So that's obviously insane, like way too much. But you hear what it's doing. It lets through a ton at the start and it really slams it hard. And it's just got a really easy mix knob there. And that's what I like on compressors. I love working a compressor really hard to get the best flavor out of it and then just bringing down or bringing up and down the mix. The Waves one, yeah, I'm sure the Waves one is fine. Probably sounds a bit different. I haven't tried it much, to be honest. Yeah, I'm just the UA guy, but I'm sure it's sick. I'm sure the real thing is sick as well. Then we're going into some tape. The Studer A800, which I love on big 4/4 drums like this. I just really, really like what it does to the hi-hats when a kick drum is happening. It just squashes it in this lovely way. I usually go for this GP9 tape. And there's the settings underneath. I think all I've done there is just take a bit of lows out, to be honest. That's it. But yeah. That's not actually going into the red as much as I would normally do. Yeah, let me just pump it up for you guys so you can hear what it's actually doing. Yeah, so I probably had it around where I've got it now for a long time, and then decided, probably listening in the car or some other system, that it was too squelchy. But I'm so into squelch at the moment. I'm really into saturation, especially on drums. All my favorite tunes have all got very saturated drums, squelchy hi-hats. So yeah, I'm surprised that it's so low, to be honest, on this tune, because it's a pretty banging tune. But I guess I just wanted the transients to cut through a little more. Yeah, it does sound a little bit too, like it loses its dynamic range when you take it up too much. So that's why I left it like that. The next one is the inflator. Back to the inflator. This is probably in the red as well. Yeah, just touching the red there. It does some really nice stuff if you take off this clip button. Just a bit more saturation, different kind of saturation. But yeah, I'll do a little on and off of this. Just gives it life. I don't know what it's doing, but I love plugins like that where it's just a slider, you know. It's cool. I just love simple plugins like that. You turn it on, it makes it better. You don't have to think about it too much. Moving on. More saturation, bit of Saturn. Just, yeah, 14% is that. I'm taking out a bit of highs there. I probably liked taking out the highs using this rather than the EQ. Got it on the tube setting. Yeah, just adding some sparkle. You need some pretty good speakers to even hear the difference that that's making, to be honest. It's minor. And then a tiny bit of master EQ at the end, which is just taking out some harshness. So yeah, just taking out some frequencies I didn't like. And then I really like the Oxford limiter as well on drums. I think it just does a really good job at keeping it sounding natural, adds a little bit of overdrive and distortion. Yeah, not taking off much. A couple of dB here and there, leaving some headroom for the master out. Moving on for the bass, like I told you guys earlier, Monarch for this one. That makes me happy. So we're going through a distressor with that. This plugin actually, well, this piece of hardware was essential to this tune. We recorded all of Amine's vocals straight through just an SM58 mic, straight into a distressor on like full red. And that's why it sounds so insanely distorted and, yeah, pumped up. If you're asking for Marley Marley, it's not actually out yet, so I can't play it. But when it's out, I will definitely do this with Marley Marley. But you can go to the Boiler Room set I did and hear the whole thing there, almost like I dropped it there. So search Disclosure Boiler Room, it's all there. Yeah, so that's doing that. Got some EQ on there as well, and some Echo Boy, is that? Bit of delay. Yeah. So you want to hear the drums with the bass.